07, show myself 7.
A war that wasn't supposed to exist exploded into the open. Tehran, 3:24 a.m. No warnings, no sirens, just silence, then impact.
Fox News alert, we're getting word that Israel's launching preemptive airstrikes against Iran.
We have seen explosions in Iran tonight. We're working to determine the scale and the scope of the attack.
As buildings crumbled and windows shattered, the sky was alight like daylight. By sunrise, Iran's elite was shaken. Nuclear scientists vanished. Military generals disappeared. The regime had been hit harder than anyone thought possible. This wasn't just a message, it was a blueprint for destruction. Tehran was just the beginning. 150 miles south, Israel struck what really mattered, the Natanz nuclear facility. Israel had struck both simultaneously. The capital to eliminate the power, the nuclear strike to destroy the program.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
As oil prices surged and diplomats scrambled, Iran didn't pause in fear. It prepared for the escalation. The world watched satellite feeds of Iran's most protected secrets burning. The scale was unprecedented. Every name from a list compiled over years of intelligence gathering. Hossein Salami, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, dead in his compound. Gholam Ali Rashid, head of Iran's emergency command structure, killed alongside his deputy. Ali Shamkhani, the supreme leader's closest advisor and Iran's former nuclear negotiator, killed in the airstrikes. 9 nuclear scientists, men who understood uranium, weapons design and delivery systems. Fereydun Abbasi, the former head of Iran's atomic energy organization. Mohammad Mehdi Tehranchi, accused by Israel of weapons program involvement. Amir Ali Hajizadeh, commander of the IRG's aerospace force. Mohammad Bagheri, Iran's highest-ranking military officer. All targeted, all eliminated. The message was clear. If Iran has a nuclear program, it doesn't just need materials, it needs people. And those people can be hunted. Netanyahu didn't hide the intent. Speaking directly to the Iranian people, he declared,
"In the past 24 hours, we've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility. More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them."
But Iran knew exactly what to do next. 6 hours after the first strike, Iran launched over 100 drones, missiles, and hypersonic weapons, crossing 800 miles to Israel within 12 minutes. Some were intercepted, some weren't. An apartment block in Tel Aviv collapsed. The death toll, 13. Wounded, over 200.
که رژیم صهیونیستی اشتباه بزرگی کرد، خطای بزرگی کرد، غلطی کرد و عواقب او رو بیچاره خواهد کرد به توفیق الهی.
But this wasn't the start. It's just the loudest phase in a war that's been silent for years. In 2009, a cyber weapon crippled Iranian centrifuges. In 2012, nuclear scientists were gunned down on motorcycles. In 2020, Iran's top physicist was assassinated.
A remote-controlled weapon was used in last week's assassination of a top nuclear scientist. No attackers were present when Mohsen Farizadeh was shot by a high-precision machine gun.
In 2024, a Hamas leader was killed in Tehran by a bomb hidden in a guest house months earlier. Each time, the message was the same. We can reach you. Iran responded through proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, but that passage is broken. Hamas weakened, Hezbollah fractured. For the first time in decades, Iran and Israel are facing each other directly. No middlemen, no deniability. The shadow war is over. The real one has begun.
فکر نکنند که زدند و تمام شد. نه، کار رو اونها شروع کردند و جنگ به راه انداختند.
Iran says its nuclear program is peaceful. Israel claims it's 12 days from a bomb. The truth, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, lies somewhere in between. But according to Netanyahu, Iran has enriched uranium to 60%, not weapons grade, but enough to make the world nervous. Think of uranium enrichment like a ladder. Natural uranium, that's less than 1%. Reactor fuel, that's 3.7%. Medical isotopes like radiotherapy for cancer, that's 20%. Nuclear weapons, that's 90%.
Where's Iran? Iran's completed the first stage. Now they're well into the second stage. By next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb.
The question isn't whether Iran can build a bomb, it's will they? Netanyahu sees an existential threat. Trump sees leverage for negotiations. Iran's facilities stretch across the country. Natanz, Esfahan, Fordo. Israel hit the first two hard, but Fordo remains untouched. If Israel's goal was to end it permanently, they failed, and failure comes with consequences. Every war has rules, even undisclosed ones, red lines that shouldn't be crossed, escalation points marking the difference between manageable conflict and regional disaster. Iran's retaliations have grown bolder. Drones become ballistic missiles, military targets become infrastructure. Israel's response has followed. Nuclear scientists become military commanders, and government buildings became TV stations. The pattern is acceleration, each side doing more than the last. The USA deployed military to the region. The UK moved its jets to the Middle East. Russia has offered mediation, and China has called for restraint. The risk isn't just regional spillover. The risk isn't just economic collapse. The risk is nuclear.
At least 65 people were injured in the latest round of Iranian strikes. Among the buildings hit was a hospital in the southern city of Beersheba.
They're a criminal regime. They're the arch terrorists of the world. They want to have nuclear terrorism, which will put the entire world under nuclear blackmail, and they would use these weapons.
7 days in, and the death toll's still rising. Countries are evacuating their citizens. Australia pulling people out by land. India flying students home for Armenia. And a Donald Trump decision could change everything.
The White House is setting a new deadline for Iran. President Trump says he will make a decision on taking U.S. action in the conflict within the next 2 weeks.
Fordo, Iran's most protected nuclear site, buried between 260 feet of mountain. The uranium Israel fears the most, and the target that might require American help to destroy. The pieces are moving. Israel promises to strike Fordo, America deciding whether or not to help them. Iran vowing massive retaliation if its leaders are targeted. 7 days ago, this started with strikes on military targets. Today, hospitals are burning, buildings destroyed. Tomorrow, the questions get bigger. Will Trump join Israel's campaign? Can Israel destroy Fordo alone? And how will Iran respond to attacks on its civilians?
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history.
The real war is just beginning.